It's a jam-packed weekend in Statesboro, Georgia, on the campus of Georgia Southern University. The night before, football takes on Louisiana Monroe. Men's basketball takes on the Radford Highlanders inside Hanner Fieldhouse. Radford beat the Eagles last season at home. Can they do it again on the road? So glad you can join us. Danny Wall alongside Griffin Lale and Griffin. Georgia Southern, a tough loss on Monday to North Florida by 3 points, while Radford, on the other hand, got a win over Bridgewater State this past Tuesday.
Absolutely. These teams have dovetailing seasons. Both have one win on the year. They're looking to get it going here in non-conference inside Hanner Fieldhouse.
And this will be a matchup between two preseason first-team all-conference players for the Highlanders. Carleek Jones, not only a preseason first-team Big South selection, but the preseason Big South Player of the Year as well.
Absolutely, Danny. He's done nothing but grown since being a Highlander jersey, averaging 15 points a game so far last season. This year, he's got 31 points and 20 in his 2 games.
And for Georgia Southern, Quan Jackson had a breakout season last year. Preseason first-team All-Sun Belt Conference selection. Looking to lead Georgia Southern throughout the year.
Absolutely, Danny. The cat's out of the bag on Quan Jackson. We know what he can do. He's already averaging 13 points a game, 6 rebounds as well as 2 steals. Like you mentioned, a preseason All-Sun Belt nominee. He's living up to the hype.
Well, it should be a great matchup between the Eagles and Highlanders. Radford making their appearance in Statesboro for the first time since 1985, in which Georgia Southern got the win 48-42. However, the last time these two teams played was last season at Radford, and the Highlanders were able to get the win 80-68. A couple of players on both teams as you look at the starting lineups first for the Radford Highlanders. Carleek Jones, Donald Hicks, Leroy Butts IV, Travis Fields Jr., and Lewis Jonkum.
Absolutely. The combination between Carleek Jones and Travis Fields is going to be important. Fields averaging 12.5 points a game, and combine that with Carleek Jones' 25.5 per game. That's going to be where the offense is coming from for the Highlanders.
And for Georgia Southern, Elijah McCadden, Ike Smith, Calvin Wishart, Quan Jackson, and Isaiah Crawley. Ike Smith did not play on Monday night. He's good to go with a game-time decision heading into tonight's contest.
Absolutely, and he brings the presence that you have inside. Georgia Southern has shot the lights out of the ball so far inside Hanner Fieldhouse this year. Scoring in the paint hasn't been a priority. Definitely having Ike back in the lineup helps Georgia Southern in that aspect.
Well, these Georgia Southern fans are hyped up here inside Hanner. Radford 1-1 on the year. Georgia Southern 1-2, trying to break even. First game of a jam-packed weekend here on the campus of Georgia Southern University. It will be Lewis Jonkum against Isaiah Crawley at center court, and we are underway. Georgia Southern wins the opening tip. Here's Isaiah Crawley at the free throw line. Screens for Calvin Wishart. Ike Smith at the corner for 3. Off the mark. And now we'll see the first of the Highlanders offense. There's Carleek Jones. Radford, a dominant win over Bridgewater College on Tuesday, 91-40. Good defense from Crawley down low. A scuffle for the basketball. Georgia Southern comes up with it. Smith will drive, was looking to kick out to a teammate, loses it, recovered by Travis Fields.
Danny, Georgia Southern ranks 253rd in the country so far this season in turnovers per game. Funnily enough, they're in the top 15 in turnovers forced. So they can just get on the better side of that statistic. Definitely can get the win.
And Jonkum gets the first basket for Radford here to start the night. Calvin Wishart playing point. Something that Mark Bynes has wanted to see more of from the sophomores. Quan Jackson shoots and draws a foul.
Quan loves to play on the outside of the perimeter, but he does have that drive ability. And normally when he drives, he loves to take it to the rim. Interesting that he pulled up from the free throw line right there, Dan.
So as we said at the open, Quan Jackson, preseason first-team All-Sun Belt Conference selection. Really had a breakout season last year, but the difference is Now that teams know about Quan Jackson, know how good he is for the Eagles, he is a prime target. He is in every team's game plan. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jackson does here throughout the year with that kind of pressure. Radford in their first 2 games averaging 75.5 points per contest. Shooting at 46% on the floor, 38% from long range. Inside the butts, and the shot by Hicks as he draws a foul.
Yeah, that time Crawley just unable to control his body coming down for the block. And it'll be an easy 3 points here for Radford.
And the team's first, Donald Hicks.
So Donald Hicks playing in his 101st career game for the Highlanders, knocks down the first free throw. As you see there on the replay, Crawley making contact.
And these are actually the first free throws that Hicks has taken all season, Danny.
Checking in for the Highlanders, number 30, Devon Eke.
Shot 75% from the stripe last season.
So he goes 2 of 3. You see Radford with a full court man-on-man defense here to answer the Eagles. Jackson will drive, and the putback is good from Crawley. And Isaiah Crawley-Griffin really kept the Eagles in the game against North Florida on Monday. He led the team with 31 points on the night.
And with Ike Smith being out for the game, someone had to step up in the paint. Crawley was that guy. The threes just weren't falling for Georgia Southern like they were in that Reinhardt game.
Isaiah Crawley's really improved as a vocal leader for this team. He is one of the 3 captains along with Quan Jackson and Ike Smith. Fields will pull up. No good. Rebound Jonkum. Jonkum double teamed at the baseline. Will get it back. Goes up with the right hand. No good. A rebound Crawley. Elijah McCadden will float it up. And an offensive foul called as Devon Eke taking the charge.
Yeah, that's 2 quick fouls for Isaiah Crawley. Something to watch going here further in this game.
Returning for the Highlanders, number 13, Leroy Butts.
Georgia Southern coming out in their 3-man front court press.
Quick substitution for Radford as Leroy Butts returns in the game. Fields will drive, finds Ike down low for 2. Wishart double teamed, almost lost it, recovers. Finds Jackson, kicks out to McCadden, open at the wing for 3.
McCadden nails that one. That's going to be something Georgia Southern has to do, is finding the open 3. Radford doing a good job of contesting shots so far, except for that last one there.
Elijah McCadden, one of the 2 players for Georgia Southern along with Calvin Wishart that got to experience playing time as freshmen last year. Radford can't answer back on the 3 from Hicks.
And I got to ask myself, Danny, why is Calvin Wishart playing down in the paint? He was mismatched up against number 30, Ike, for Radford that time.
Well, it will be Georgia Southern ball. We will return from the media timeout. Radford with a 1-point lead. More action coming up on ESPN+.
A sports injury can stop you in your tracks. At Optum Orthopedics, our specialized physicians and staff use advanced orthopedic procedures with one specific goal in mind: to get you back to you. If you have a sports injury, request an evaluation. Experience the Optum difference.
You are your home runs, You are your near misses. You are your years to remember and your years you'd rather forget. You are what you build and who you build it for. And you are what you leave behind. BB&T, all we see is you.
At Georgia Power, we believe the best kind of energy is the one that empowers the next generation of science and technology leaders. That's why, here in Georgia, we help students repair thousands of robots every year with the FIRST Robotics program. After all, what we do off the grid is just as important as the clean, safe, reliable, affordable energy we provide on it. And that's a different kind of energy.
And we're back on ESPN Plus. There you see Mike Jones, head coach for the Highlanders in his 9th season. And Radford, this season is a year of redemption, considering you look at what happened over the last 2 years. 2 years ago, they were in the NCAA tournament and won the Big South Conference Championship. Last season, they went 22-11, but lost in the conference championship game to Gardner-Webb, keeping them out of the NCAA tournament this past season.
And what a turnaround Mike Jones has had with this Radford program. The season before he joined the Highlanders, they were a one-win team. That's right, Danny, a one-win team. So to have them in just 7 short seasons getting back to the NCAA tournament is such a feat, but obviously revenge on the mind. They definitely want to get back there.
Calvin Wishart looking for Ike Smith down low in the post, and a foul's going to be called on Radford.
Ike going to get called that time with the slap down low. And Georgia Southern looks shaky on offense. They're not confident in their passes, and maybe the pick and rolls just aren't quite there so far.
2:05 in the opening minutes as Trey Dawkins getting his first look for Georgia Southern. Here's Ike Smith maneuvering through traffic, can't finish. Rebound Fields. Jones trying to go in the post, looking for Butts. Almost lost it. Radford is starting 3 of 8 from the field. Shot clock at 8. Ike to the post. Butts fades away off the front iron.
Good D that time by Ike Smith. He definitely doesn't have the height advantage in that situation, playing tough D to make up for it.
Smith will pull up for 3. Jones starts and stops and goes down the lane, just off.
Georgia Southern needs to take advantage of this fast break opportunity.
Wishart was looking for Jackson. And a foul going to be called on Hicks.
Yeah, push that time, just getting into Jackson's offensive bubble is what you call it. You get a vertical bubble, and you get to hold that ground as an offensive player. At that time, Hicks just trying to push Quan out of bounds.
Elijah McAdam will check back in for the Eagles. Also, we'll see the first of David Lee Jones, the senior.
Jones, great hands on defense, and a great 6-man to have if you're a Georgia Southern fan.
Crawley at the baseline, posting up on Jonkum. His shot is short. Jonkum on the rebound.
And really, none of the big men for Georgia Southern have that strength and size to compete in the post with the Radford bigs. Radford's doing a great job of creating mismatches inside and getting the ball to those big guys.
Jonkum inside. He can't finish. But a foul's going to be called, and it will be on the Highlanders.
And good hands from Quan Jackson on the backside with a little recovery defense.
We're seeing some great defense here after the media timeout. Neither team has been able to score in almost 3 minutes. Some more
Radford, one of their
substitutions.
last, sorry, Danny, Radford, one of their last 8 from the field, as well as 0 for their last 5.
Jones to Jackson, and he's able to score for 2.
And finally, the first time we've seen that, Jackson cutting through the lane and finally able to get that bucket.
And Jones will answer back with a quick layup of his own. second basket of the night for the preseason Big South Player of the Year. Pass was tipped, recovered by Quentin Morton Robertson for Radford.
He's one of 2 freshmen for the Radford that grew up in the Radford area, won 3 state championships at Radford High School, and finally joined their hometown program. He joins head coach's son, I believe, Danny, right?
Yes, joining Miles Jones from Radford High on this Highlanders team. Shot clock at 8. The 3 is banked in by Morton Robinson.
That's actually the first 3 of Morton Robinson's young career. He went 0 for 2 and 0 for 1 in his first 2 games against Liberty and Bridgewater.
Jackson will drive, kicks out to Crawley. They swing it to David Lee Jones. Corner 3. The Eagles 2 of 5 from long range here in the first half.
And a potential mismatch down low there with David Lee Jones.
Morton Robertson goes up, that high off the glass, but no good. Jackson on the rebound. Crawley pulling up from deep.
Radford playing most of their ball beyond the arc and then waiting for the pass to open up down low.
Jones couldn't finish, and it'll be jump ball as Jackson tried to strip it away from Jonkum. Media timeout. Radford for 1-point lead, 13-12 on the SBN Plus.
Timeout on the floor. All right, fans, it's time for tonight's Sports Clips free throw contest. With us tonight.
There you see Mark Byington, head coach for Georgia Southern in his 7th season. He's done a really good job turning this program around. Back-to-back 20-win seasons for the first time in almost 30 years. And a heartbreaking way the season ended last season for Georgia Southern, losing in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament in the semifinals to UT Arlington.
Absolutely, but it was a great season for Georgia Southern, going 21-12, but dominant at home. That was the story for the Eagles, 10-4 as opposed to 7-7 on the road. They need to get a little bit better this season at winning on the road, especially in the Sun Belt Conference. Give themselves a little bit better positioning when tournament time comes around.
And even though Georgia Southern brings back 70% of their offense, they're missing 2 big chunks, Monte Glenn and Tukey Brown. Brown, the all-time points leader in Georgia Southern history in the Division I era, was also the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year last season, a 4-time first-team All-Sun Belt Conference selection as well. 3 ball is good. Knocked down by Devin Hutchinson.
And both those guys were players that played all 4 years. They got minutes in their freshman year and continued that all the way through their senior year. So a little bit of an identity change here in Statesboro, but I like the characters that are around this team to try and moving forward.
That ball went off the foot of McCadden. Possession goes back to the Highlanders. It's interesting because now you're having guys step up in different roles, whether it being Calvin Wisher being more of a point guard, Isaiah Crosby more of a vocal leader, Elijah McAdams is an all-around competitive athlete. And you can't forget, Ike Smith was supposed to be a part of that senior class last year, but only played 10 games, missed the majority of the season due to a back injury, was able to garner a medical register to come back and play one more year for the Eagles.
And a little bit of a slow start for Smith on the year. He's only averaging, I believe, 11 points a game, but we all know that he could play so much better than he has been. It just needs to take time to get back playing because he has been almost 2 years since he's been on a basketball court, Danny.
Good defense from the Eagles down low. McCadden on the board. Wisher kicks out to Jackson.
And Wisher needs to make sure he doesn't get himself caught in no man's land. He's done that a couple times tonight, just getting caught at the stripe and getting double teamed and all of having no outlet.
Ike Smith so far 0 of 3 to start the night. Wisher corner 3, a tad strong.
Radford's defense has been phenomenal tonight. I believe only one shot for Georgia Southern has been uncontested. Everything else has been a hand in the face, and also the turnover battle. But Radford winning that one 4-1 right now.
EK over to Hicks. Hicks drives down the baseline, finds EK inside, couldn't handle it, and loses it.
Returning for the Highlanders, number 1, Carlick Jones.
Carlick Jones going to check back in. Will sub out Quentin Morton Robertson. Both teams shooting below 40% here in the first half.
The evolution of Carlick Jones, Danny, has been amazing to watch. His first year in a Radford uniform, he only averaged 11.8 points, and he played in 36 games. But last year, played less games and was able to up his production up to 15.7. He's already averaging 5.5 per game so far this season. But that says something about the Radford offense. It's very dependent on their guards.
Simeon Carter fades away, and he knocks down the basket. It's nice for Georgia Southern to have Simeon Carter back on the floor making his season debut tonight. He was a big part of the offense last year, playing in 28 games, averaging 18 minutes and 8.5 points. He's going to be really beneficial down low in the post at 6'8" with almost a 7'2" wingspan.
Georgia Southern really hasn't tried to use their press too much so far today. We saw it a lot against Reinhardt about a week ago, using the 3-man press to create turnovers in the backcourt.
Jones with a nice pass, recovers, kicks out to the corner to Hutchinson, can't knock down the 3. Able to corral his own miss. Jones open at the top, and he can't finish.
Good rebound by Jackson that time with people on his back.
Jackson goes down. The foul is going to be on Hicks. Hicks saying he didn't touch him, and that's going to be his second.
Hicks, that's his second. 6th team foul.
You see there, Hicks got hands on Jackson.
Georgia Southern
16 foul.
I was going to say, Danny, Georgia Southern not having played the best opening to a half so far this season, but they're still in it. They're only down 2. What do you think that is?
Well, it's been good defense being played all throughout. They've done a great job down low, garnering rebounds. It's one of the keys to the game for Georgia Southern if they want to get the win, as we spoke to Mark Byington prior to tonight. Wisher going to be called for traveling.
We've seen a lot of that in the past year or two in college basketball. The body moving before the basketball, and that's always a no-go, always going to get called nowadays. It had become a point of emphasis because it had become a problem. A lot of guys were taking that step and then starting their dribble. NCAA coming down on that one. In the 2017-18 season,
There's Clavon Green for the first time tonight for the Highlanders. Fields inside. Blutz almost lost it. Green goes through 2 Eagles, can't finish.
And Radford with it, dominating the boards so far today. They're out rebounding Georgia Southern 11-8.
And the Highlanders have missed their last 4 shots. Hutchinson for 3 and knocks it down over Simeon Carter.
Hutchinson 2 for 3 so far from the day from beyond 3.
Carter, baseline jumper, too strong. Hutchinson getting past Elijah McCadden, the floater. Can't hit, but a foul will be called. So we'll have free throws when we come back from the media timeout. Radford with a 5-point lead with 7:09 left to play in the first.
On the floor, fans, stop by your local Subway restaurant.
My Queensboro banker is Cheryl Quick.
Blanchard Equipment Company has 16 locations.
Queensboro has homegrown values just like us,
They get heavily involved in every community.
and that means strong customer service.
They've been around a long time, just like John Deere.
When you run across the bank like that, you stick with them.
I sure would like to own one of these John Deeres.
Well, we can sure make that happen.
Oh, well.
Queensboro is your community bank. Queensboro National Bank and Trust.
Waving your banner all over the land. All right.
Well, it's finally here. You can download the Disney Plus app right now and start streaming the best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic ad-free and wherever and whenever you want. For more, go to DisneyPlus.com. And I'll tell you what, Griffin, I already subscribed up on the first day.
I'm waiting for the parents to sign me up as well. I'm just gonna try and steal that password. But in all seriousness, it is a great service. You get Hulu, ESPN Plus, and literally everything Disney from its inception for just a low price, $13. It's such a great deal.
I didn't understand exactly how much content Disney really had until the Disney Plus came out, and I got to scroll through all the content that was there and available.
I mean, you know, I grew up on the Disney Channel, and some of those shows was there, as well as the Disney Channel original movies. So if you're a millennial or someone like me, like a Gen Y kid, definitely subscribe to Disney Plus to get all that great content.
Hutchinson knocks down the free throw, extending the lead to 7.
Hutchinson had a little bit of a going out party today. He didn't play against Liberty to open the season. He did play against Bridgewater, where he had 17 points on the way to a great offensive day again.
And they're looking at Hutchinson to potentially be that 6th man for Radford off the bench.
And you see, with his height, he's also got that ball handling capability. Excuse me there, Danny. He's able to handle things on the outside, but he's got the height to be a force inside the paint as well.
Yeah, 6'5" senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. That 3 ball is off by Fields. Georgia Southern in a bit of a scoring drought right now. McCadden couldn't find anybody and fires from long range.
And it's almost like Georgia Southern had to stop, couldn't figure out how to score for a minute there, Danny. They had gone on a scoreless run. I mean, that's what you need to do. When you're in those situations, just throw a shot up and hope it falls. Then hopefully that gets the ball and momentum back rolling in your favor.
McCadden has knocked down both of his 3-point attempts here tonight. 2 of 3 overall. Fields will drive, flips it up, can't find the rim. Georgia
Perfect
Southern.
fast break opportunity here, Danny.
Eagles in transition. Jackson, corner three. In and out. McCadden tried to get the rebound. It's recovered by Hutchinson.
Hutchinson could make a case for a double or triple-double today. He's already got 8 points, 4 rebounds.
And Jones goes up over Jackson to score.
That was the 6'1 Jones going up against the 6'4 Quan Jackson. Bunnies for the Radford man.
Wishart knocks down a three.
And that's the player that Wishart was last season. He's a guy that likes to play off the ball and then get the ball and shoot it from beyond the arc. You're seeing a little bit more as this game goes on, and he's fitting into that role instead of the ball handling type of role, Danny.
Knocks down his first basket. 5 minutes left to play in the first half. A 3-point lead for Radford. Butts in the post, goes past McCadden, rolls off the right side.
It was good defense by McCadden. He didn't want to give him the access in the lane, instead force him baseline. Great defense.
Crawley with the right hand. Good defense down low by Butts. And on the other end, the lucky roll is good for Green.
And you see this a lot. Georgia Southern getting the ball forward with a lot of their players still in the backcourt.
Ike Smith, and he gets his first basket after missing the first 4 shots.
And here you go, Georgia Southern finally getting to their press that you like to see.
If the Eagles want to get back in this game, they got to see more production from Ike Smith. He had some trouble earlier on. Let's see if he starts to heat up. Layup is good by Green. He has 4 points.
Another thing Georgia Southern needs to do is they need to stop getting such easy access inside the lane. Yes, Radford is a deadly team from beyond the arc, but you need to be careful in just letting them have access to the lane.
Jackson wanted to throw down the hammer, couldn't hang on to the ball. And it will be Radford possession after the media timeout. Under 4 minutes to play, Highlanders with a 5-point lead. There you see Gus, the Georgia Southern mascot, on the floor, hyping up the fans inside Hanner. Coming up at halftime, we'll have an interesting piece on Freedom, the live bald eagle that lives on campus for Georgia Southern and makes it iconic Freedom's flight before every football game.
Absolutely. As a student here at Georgia Southern, it's just a pleasure to watch. It's one of the things you get hyped up to see. And who would have thought an eagle just flying around the stadium would get a group of students and college kids so amped up? But it happens every home game here in Statesboro.
They call it the most important 30 seconds before a game. Most exciting 30 seconds in all of college football, I should say. Hutchinson had the ball stolen away by Wishart. Everyone's kind of chipped in for Georgia Southern on offense for the most part. Wishart will drive with the right hand, lays it in.
And that's a slept-on part of his game. He's so quick from that point guard position. If he gets one step on you, he will beat you to the rim. He's got that spatial awareness to put his body into a defender and create the space for a layup.
A great scorer. Excellent three-point shooter, and also a really good facilitator as well. McCadden kicks out to Crawley, and an offensive foul as Ike taking the charge again. Ike has done a great job absorbing contact throughout the first half of the Highlanders.
He has, and that'll be McCadden's second team foul, and he'll check out for Ike Smith coming in. And a perfect opportunity for Ike Smith to come in and take over this game. You can see it in Ike Smith's eyes. Sometimes he just has his eyes set on the rim, and there's nothing that's going to get in the way. But oftentimes he has that outlet pass or the opportunity to pass it off. He needs to be a little bit better at deciding in those situations what to do.
3-point game with 3 minutes to go in the first. Jones going to reset things here. He's 3 of 8 here in the first half with 6 points.
Another mismatch on the inside. That time it's Wishart.
Shot clock at 5. Jones guarded by Wishart. Jones will pull up. He can't hit. And it will be last touched by, they're going to say it was last touched by Ike Smith. Possession stays for the Highlanders.
Still just a 3-point game, but you have to feel like Radford has been the better team in this first half, Danny, by a long shot, I would say.
They've gone on a couple of runs. Here's a long three that's knocked down by Clavon Green. He's got 7 in the first. David Lee Jones was going to answer back. Instead, Wishart will from long range.
We're going to get a foul called on the inside on Radford. That time going against Hutchinson.
It'll be Hutchinson's first foul. The 7th team foul for the Highlanders. Quan Jackson returns for the Eagles.
It's something that both teams are doing a lot of, Danny, is sharing the ball. We saw that the guards were going to play such a part and role, but the sharing of the ball on both sides of the ball has been interesting to watch so far to the game.
Carter couldn't hit the 1-and-1. Jones going to work, kicks out to Green for 3. That one bouncing high off the rim. And possession's going to stay with Radford.
Yeah, and Carter's lucky that time he didn't get called for the foul on the 3-ball attempt. He definitely bumped after the play.
Jones on the inbound, finds Ike inside and slams it with one hand. And the vertical leap from Divine Ike, a 6'8" graduate transfer from Plainfield, New Jersey. Spent the previous 3 seasons playing at Ryder.
Interestingly enough, Danny, Georgia Southern shooting a little bit better, a higher percentage from the field right now. But Radford holds the lead.
Crawley able to work through from the baseline and scores.
And that's how you work a baseline as a big. You got to force him, make him think that you're going to the baseline, and then at the last second, roll back into the basket. Usually that creates an open opportunity for a layup.
Under 90 seconds left. 6-point Radford lead. Jones looking around, has the pass stolen away, was looking down low for Holland. Carter blocked off the backboard. And some fans, including Mark Bynes, is calling for goaltending. Meanwhile, in transition, Ike Smith is going to get called for an offensive foul. And how about Ike again, using his body to absorb contact for this, I believe, the 3rd or 4th straight time.
And that's the 3rd time that Georgia Southern's come down and tried to kick it in that situation, but that's the right call. I mean, Georgia Southern fans could be upset what they want, but that's absolutely the right call. I believe it's the second time that's happened to Ike Smith again in this game. If you leave the floor, you're going to come down on somebody.
And that could be why Georgia Southern hasn't really gotten in the groove in the first half, because every time they're trying to move in transition and on the fast break, they just keep on getting stalled due to multiple offensive fouls.
No, you're right. Drive and kick is the name of Georgia Southern's game, and the way the Radford's taking these charges, they're completely eliminating that aspect of their offense.
Shot clock at 8. Jones and an offensive foul. This time Ike Smith taking the charge. Fighting fire with fire.
Making up for his mistake down at the other end. Georgia Southern just down 6 here. If you're a Georgia Southern fan, you want to try and claw back into this lead going into halftime. However, you have to be pleased with the way your team is playing, all things considered. You get another look at that charge. And that one's gonna be a harder one to call as well because the referee has his view obstructed by a bunch of the guys in the paint. Great job by the ref on the baseline to pick that up.
Well, the shot clock is turned off, so Georgia Southern can either cut the lead down to 4 or make it a 1-possession game with a 3-pointer.
I also want to go back to the block down at the board on the other end. Some Georgia Southern fans were also complaining about that one potentially being goaltending. I don't think so. That ball was hit by the hand into the rim, into the backboard, and that's what sent it flying. I don't think that ball made contact with the backboard first, which would have made it a goaltending.
Definitely a close call. 10 seconds to go in the first. Now the Eagles will run a play, and there will be a foul as it was Holland, Devontae Holland, who was holding on to the jersey of Simeon Carter. So Carter will go to the line. That's the 9th foul for Radford here in the first.
Carter at the line for the Eagles, shooting 1-1.
Carter missed the first 1-1 and missed the second one as well, and a foul is going to be called. No, a timeout will be called by Mike Jones, and good option made by Radford, calling a timeout with 4.7 seconds to go, trying to get one more play in and try to increase their lead before halftime.
Absolutely. What it also does, it moves the ball. Going to get the ball side out at about mid-court, so it's going to be a great opportunity to get one last shot up. So far on the day, Radford has been lights out on offense. They're 12 of 33 from the field, as well as 4 from 10 beyond the arc. And they have hit a lot of three-pointers, but the timeliness of their three-pointers has been monumental. Every time Georgia Southern gets a little bit of momentum, Radford hits a big three or an open shot just to take it all away. Another thing about that is the charges. Momentum is such a big part of this game, and the charges have taken a bunch of the wind out of the Georgia Southern sails. Going forward in the second half, you need to expect, as a Georgia Southern fan, to try and be a little bit better on offense. Try not to drive and kick, and then when you do drive and kick, don't leave your feet. Because leaving your feet is just leaving yourself susceptible to charge every single time.
So a quick timeout called by Mike Jones and Radford. I believe now a full timeout. There hasn't really been one outright player that's been able to lead the charge for either team. Devin Hutchinson, come off the bench and provided 8 points, while Clavon Green with 7. And Carly Jones with 6 for the Highlanders.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Georgia Southern as well. Ike Smith has 2, Wishart has 5, Jackson with 4, Carter with 2, and Crawley with 4. It's like this game is just waiting for one player to come in and take it over. And I definitely think you're going to see it in the second half.
Well, Mark Byington has said before that his offense isn't really designed for a specific player, so anybody can score in this offensive set. We've kind of seen that throughout the first half. So they put a couple extra ticks on the clock, now 5.2 seconds to play. Radford has to go the entire length of the floor. Long three is off the mark from Travis Fields. So that concludes the first half. The Highlanders with a 6-point lead over Georgia Southern here on ESPN+.
Where Zaxby's is from. Some like it classic. Some like it saucy. For others, it's gotta be crispy. But everyone loves the flavor that brings us together. And whether you like it spicy or old school, you'll like it even more. Because Zaxby's 5 fan favorites are now just $5.99 each. Friends, family, flavor. Zaxby's.
Domino's delivery drivers are experts at handling bad roads. But those roads shouldn't ruin your pizza when you carry out. So we're doing something about them, starting with this one. If your drive home is rough on pizza, tell us at pavingforpizza.com so we can fix roads across the country. Then carry out large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each.
There's funny you and hangry you, kick butt you, and what day is this you? There are parts of you you're fiercely and justly proud of, and parts that you're working on. You are not flawless. You are not Superwoman, but you are kind of amazing. BB&T, all we see is you.
And we're back on ESPN Plus. Radford a 6-point lead over Georgia Southern in the evenly matched first half. But you got to say, Griffin, the momentum for a majority of the half has been from Radford and been able to halt Georgia Southern in transition a couple of times too.
They have. You mentioned just there a second ago. The defense from Radford has been phenomenal. It's only on the offensive end for Radford. They've done a great job at creating mismatches in the paint. Oftentimes you've had point guards guarding big men in the paint, and that just hasn't been beneficial to Georgia Southern.
And in the first half, Georgia Southern shooting 40% from the field, Radford 35%. Both teams shooting 4 of 11 from behind the arc. And when it comes to free throws, Radford 4 of 5, Georgia Southern 2 of 4. So when we come back, we'll take a look at Freedom, the live bald eagle on the campus of Georgia Southern University.
Steve, what does Freedom mean to our fans as part of the history of Georgia Southern? What does he mean?
Well, that's a great question. I'll tell you, Art, he has come to be iconic, and not surprising. We are Georgia Southern Eagle Nation, but to actually be one of the few institutions around the country that have a live bald eagle that's present at our football games, graduation, it continues to grow, and it's really, really a special opportunity to be with Freedom.
Tell me the story around Freedom. How did the Wildlife Center in Georgia Southern University acquire a bald eagle?
Having an eagle here at the campus of Georgia Southern goes all the way back to football. And the Eric Russell years, we had in 1992 or 90, I believe, a bird flew over the stadium. They called it our mascot, except I don't think it was an avid birder. It turned out to be a turkey vulture that flew over the stadium. And the community, the Statesboro community, wanted to right that travesty and approached me, and we were able to put in a request. It took us 13 years to get the right eagle, but that's Freedom.
Freedom during game day. He's one of the few bald eagles in the country who does a live flight.
And so we'll do our practice flights, but once the flight's done, and that is kind of kicking off the game, we don't simply return them to the Wildlife Center. We then really do the heavy lifting, which is to go into the crowd and share Freedom, which actually supports the Wildlife Center. It's what we're all about, man and nature together. So I think that's what really distinguishes him from maybe some of the other Eagles, is that we're in the stands, meeting and greeting the fans of Georgia Southern University.
Tell us about the impact on the community, the nation. What impact do we have with it?
Well, you know, that to me, well, there you go. He's telling you. That is, to me, the thing that caught me so flat-footed. I knew it would mean a lot. What I was not prepared for is that the privilege to travel with the football team all over the nation, and wherever we're at, for whatever reason, we're dealing with the national symbol. And it's kind of like something so iconic, being a guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The realization that I'm next to something that means so much to so many. And for that, it's just a privilege I'm eternally thankful for.
Welcome back on ESPN Plus. Radford with a 6-point lead over Georgia Southern inside Hanner. Danny Wall and Griffin Leo on hand. Griffin, as we look at the first half stats, Georgia Southern have taken less shots than Radford. They're both even in three-point shooting. And the reason why the Eagles are taking less shots is because their offense has been halted a lot throughout this first half.
They have. The defense in Radford has been phenomenal, for lack of a better word. Another stat line that doesn't show up on that graphic that needs to be highlighted is offensive rebounds. Radford has created 7 opportunities from an offensive rebound. Compare that to Georgia Southern's only 2. They got to do a better job offensive rebounding to the Eagles.
A lot of second chance opportunities for the Highlanders as it transitions to some of the highlights from the first half. You see Quan Jackson driving down the lane for 2. There hasn't been a primary scorer for Georgia Southern throughout the half. Everyone's kind of contributed a little bit, and the same is for Radford as well.
Another thing to think about, too, is the threes are just falling a little bit better or in more opportune times for Radford. Both teams have hit 4 threes, but every time Radford hit a 3, it's been so monumental. You see Wishart hitting the 3 there, and forcing passes that aren't there sometimes have been the Eagles' case. Also something to mention, the charges. Georgia Southern's had 3 charges called against them so far this season, or so this game, and kind of ruined the momentum. So keeping it flow and keeping it going is what Georgia Southern needs to do.
One more commercial break before the second half. Keep it locked here on ESPN Plus. Moments away from beginning the second half here on ESPN Plus. Georgia Southern down by 6 against the Radford Highlanders. Griffin, what does Georgia Southern need to do to work their way back in the second half?
I think it's getting out in transition. You mentioned it before, they're a running gun type of team that loves to create open shots on the wing. I think Radford's done a good job of forcing Georgia Southern to play half-court ball. If Georgia Southern can create turnovers and get out in transition, that's what they need to do.
And Radford's done a great job defensively halting the Georgia Southern offense. What do they need to do to hold on for this win?
I think it's just cleaning it up on the offensive end. They have 6 turnovers, and I'm pretty sure all 6 turnovers have been inside the paint with just bad handling of the ball. They clean up their job in the paint, and this is a 10-point, 14-point game right now.
We highlighted 2 players at the top of the broadcast for Radford. Carleek Jones, he's shooting 3 of 9 from the field, has 6 points, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. And for Georgia Southern, Quan Jackson, he has 4 points, 1 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, and also leading the Eagles in rebounds with 6.
And Jones is kind of taking a more hands-off approach, going with a more traditional point guard role and bringing the ball up and getting the ball away from himself and creating opportunities for other guys off the ball. He hasn't had the ball in his hands and scoring opportunities too much. That's another key for me if Radford can get going, is get hard to the ball.
Radford will start with possession as they're about to begin the second half in Hanner. First time Radford has been back in Statesboro since 1985. And Radford was picked to win the Big South Conference in the preseason polls, but Mike Jones has said the preseason doesn't matter. It's all about how you execute throughout the season.
You're not going to know anything right now, Danny, in November about what your team might look like in February or March. I get Coach Jones' sentiment in that. But certainly work ethic and style of play can be built in the early part of the season.
Hicks knocking down the first basket to start the second half. Georgia Southern was picked to finish third in the Sun Belt Conference. South Alabama was picked to finish first, followed by UT Arlington as Jackson gets going for the Eagles.
Jackson had to lean back just a little bit farther to get that separation, knocking down the field goal that time.
Fields pulls up and he knocks down a bucket.
Great pick that time, on the inside that time from Butts.
We haven't really seen much of Travis Fields Jr. That's his first made basket in the game as Ike Smith gets it off the glass.
Kiss off the glass and a step back jumper for Smith. That's the snowball effect he hoped to have with him here in the second half.
We've seen Georgia Southern before have completely different second halves where the energy is there. And they played very well over games last season. Let's see if they can do the same again this year. There was a point last season against George Mason. They were down by 20 at the half and fought their way back to get the win as that basket rolls in by Carleek Jones.
Yeah, that was a fun game to be a part of. Hanner was coming alive on a Friday night last year. 10-4 at home in 2018-19 were the Georgia Southern Eagles. 1-0 so far.
Isaiah Crowley spinning for 2. Fields open from the wing, and he's starting to heat up.
And that's the risk you run when you run that press offense, is you risk trying to get back and play half court. There's often an opportunity for an open 3 on the other side of the court. Radford finding it that time and expanding their lead to 9.
Wishart fakes, now fires, and knocks it down.
Wishart now with 8 points, 2 from 4 from 3-point. And a rare error that time from Jones.
Jones recovers, finds Hicks in the corner, and the Highlanders answer back with a 3 of their own.
Eagles are doing a great job of contesting all 3 opportunities. As Wishart tries to step into that one, just kind of forcing it a little bit, but Georgia Southern's got to play better defense here in the second half.
We've seen the Eagles play really good defense in their season opener against Auburn. You got to remember the opening games for both teams took on opponents that were in the NCAA tournament. Auburn being in the Final Four last season.
And what a close game that was. So Georgia Southern fans have a bar. They contended with a top SEC program. They went to the national championship last year and only lost out by a couple of points. Yes, they lost some guys, but we know what this Georgia Southern team can do, and they've fell victim a couple times this year to playing to their opponent. I'm not so sure if that's the case in this one specifically, but we know they can do better.
David Lee Jones checking in for Ike Smith. Lewis Jonkum steps out for Radford. And Devin Hutchinson will check in. Crowley, that's a long 2. And he gets it to go.
And it seems like Georgia Southern offense has come, at least in its forms, fleetingly in individual performances. A guy stepping up and taking a contested shot, pulling up at the free throw line.
Put back no good from Butts. Georgia Southern in transition. Jackson finds McCadden. Out to Jones. Jackson down the corner. Crawley leans in, can't finish.
Crawley's got to take advantage of that mismatch. And it was good defense by Radford on the fast break. Always had 4 men behind the ball. They were never going to get beat.
We're going to say that ball is off of Georgia Southern, and Radford will get possession when we come back. The Highlanders with a 7-point lead on ESPN+.
Southwest Grill and the University Store. Thank you all for being proud partners.
And we are back on ESPN+. The Highlanders of Radford, a 7-point lead over Georgia Southern here in the opening minutes of the second half. We thank you for joining us. Danny Wall alongside Griffin Leah. It will be Radford basketball from the side. Hutchinson will inbound, and it's tipped away by McCadden. Oh, what a block from Crawley. Now Georgia Southern in transition. Jones will drive, kicks out to Wishart at the corner for 3. And Calvin Wishart with his third made three-pointer in the game.
And I'm going to give that one to David Lee Jones. He absolutely looked off the defender. It looked like he was going to give it right back to Simeon Carter, instead throwing it in the corner and getting the assist for himself.
Well, we have a moment, a couple of Disney Plus trivia. Which Division I head coaches began their tenure prior to the debut of The Simpsons in 1989? For the folks back at home.
You know, I'm thinking there's got to be some older guys. Coach K's been around for a long time. So's Coach Izzo at Michigan State.
David Lee Jones puts the Eagles within 1.
Got Boeheim at Syracuse as well, so I'm curious if that's just a one-prong answer there, Danny.
The answer may surprise you, as Georgia Southern trying to fight their way back, currently on an 8-0 run.
Another thing as well, does that include women's coaches?
It very well might. Shot clock at 7. Jones will keep it, kicks out to Fields, and he can't answer back.
Finally some momentum going in the way of Georgia Southern. Can they capitalize on it?
Jones to take the lead. Got it!
Jones with a perfect step back over the 6'7" frame of Leroy Butts. That's something that our man Tukey Brown was so good at, was creating space over big men in the paint. Jones picking that slack up. with Brown's departure.
Highlanders need a bucket. They've missed their last 5. Fields will drive. He'll fade away, but a foul is going to be called on Radford. Offensive foul on Travis Fields.
Yeah, that time she's extending the elbow to create separation. That's always going to be called nowadays, Danny. It's called the arm bar. As a defender or an offensive player, you can't have from your wrist to your elbow fully on a player just to create some separation. Good call by the refs this time. And Georgia Southern, 3 of 3 from the field for the last 3 shots, and a 13-3 run in the last 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
Definitely a big momentum shift for the Eagles. Let's see if Georgia Southern can keep it up. Wishart was going to take a 3 instead of the pass over to Jackson. Now Crawley in the post. Goes up with the right hand. Rolls off the left side iron.
Yeah, and a little bit unorthodox way to go up that time. Just kind of jumping up and spreading the legs.
All right, what a beautiful move by Carleek Jones, able to snap the streak.
And Georgia Southern was on a 10-0 run for the last 3 or so minutes.
Crawley going to drive. Gets it off the backboard.
And that's Crawley's length playing to his advantage. He's got the advantage that time over EK. Really the small lineup right now in for Radford, but using that first step to get around the defender and then drive to the basket. So effortless that team that time from Carter.
Jones loses it. And you're now starting to see Carleek Jones kind of take over a little bit on offense for Radford.
You're also starting to feel the kind of pressure from Hannah Fieldhouse. These crowds starting to come alive, and as the game has gone on, you see more students file in. The student section's already filled up.
Well, it'll be Georgia Southern ball, and we have an answer on the number of coaches that started their careers prior to the Simpsons debut in 1989. You were right about 2 of them, Mike Krasetsky and Jim Boeheim, also Greg Camp from Oakland and Bob McKillop from Davidson. Here's a look at the women's coaches.
See, there's my question, because I know Gino REM has been a part of the UConn program for so long. Didn't think about Muffin McGraw, though. I didn't think she'd been around that long.
Beautiful tip by Ike Smith. He now has 6 points in the contest.
And for the first time all game, you're starting to see Radford be a little rattled. They're not communicating as well as they have all game.
Morton Robertson inside to EK. EK goes above Wishart for 2.
Yeah, Wishart tried to get as much of it as he could, but that time, Quan Jackson taking himself out of the play, essentially giving the Highlanders the bucket.
Smith, double team, loses it for a moment, recovered by Morton Robertson.
Smith has to give it up in that situation. We talked about it in the first half, putting himself in bad situations. That's one right there.
3-pointer too strong by Hutchinson. Smith to Wishart. Wishart for 3. Clavon Green kicking out to Fields.
Back and forth basketball here in the second half. You see Georgia Southern on time, try and slow it down and play some half-court basketball.
Quan Jackson over to Ike Smith. Corner 3, short. Rebound Hutchinson.
Ike's having a tough day from the field. He's 3 of 8 from the field and 0 for 3 now from three-pointer.
Georgia Southern now shooting 48% from the field. Radford shooting at 40%. Foul's going to be on Calvin Wishart. So it'll be Radford ball when we come back from the media timeout. Georgia Southern with a 1-point lead, 49-48.
Timeout on the floor, fans. It's time for tonight's Domino's Stack the Boxes Challenge.
Georgia Southern outscoring Radford 23-16 here in the second half. They have a 1-point lead so far here in this game. Under 11 minutes left to play. Griffin, what has Georgia Southern done right here to fight their way back in?
I think it's like I said in the halftime, what Radford needed to do, Georgia Southern did. They needed to clean up their opportunities and knock down threes, and Georgia Southern's finally getting those two things done. David Lee Jones, what a guy he is, and what a sixth man to have for the Eagles. He's already got 8 points on the day, and he's 3 for 3 from the field and 2 for 2 from beyond 3.
Inside, good block by Simeon Carter on Devontae Holland. Smith, now to Carter, baseline jumper.
And something about Carter that's so great is his mid-range game. That's what you need out of a big man. Someone that can come off the block, get the ball in that area of the court, and put it in uncontested.
The Eagles shooting 11 of 18 in the second half, 3 of 6 from long range.
Radford trying to get back to the way they were in the first half. A lot of movement off the ball and creating mismatches.
Green will fire. He knocks one down.
7 for 18 now on the day for 3 points. Pointers is the Radford Highlanders, excuse me, Danny.
Now tied at 51 with 10 minutes to go. Smith will drive. Goes up strong. Couldn't get it to go. Rebound Holland. They give it down to EK on the low block. EK kicking out to Clavon Green. His three-pointer is off. Ike Smith comes down with the ball. And I believe it was last touched by Radford out of bounds down low.
Yeah, I think the way that works, Danny, is Smith had the ball, but Hicks touched the ball while his foot was out of bounds, going to give Georgia Southern the side out.
So Carleek Jones going to return for the Highlanders. Jones, 10 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Entered this game top 20 in scoring, averaging 25.5 points in the first 2 games.
And Jones that time lucky he didn't cause the turnover. That time just taking his eyes off of Isaiah Crawley. This game was close last year, Dan. We should be in for an exciting finish here in Hanner Fieldhouse.
Smith off the inbound from Jones, had to stripped away. Highlanders in transition. Jones finds Green, loses it, but it's last touched by the Eagles.
Good hands by Crawley that time. Not trying to go up and contend for the shot. He probably would have drawn the foul, but keeping his feet on the ground, swiping at that ball on the way up. Smart defense. Smart defense, smart defense. That's what wins games. Not good defense, smart defense.
And you talked about how last year's game was good in Virginia. Even though the Highlanders would end up winning that game 80-68, it was a one-possession game in the final 6-7 minutes of that game. Jones with the fake, goes up with the left hand. EK on the rebound. And EK puts it in off the miss from Junkham.
Offensive boards again. We've said it all day. Radford out rebounding Georgia Southern on the offensive end, 9-3.
Radford retakes the lead. McCadden loses it. Jones will go up and throw it down.
Timeout, Georgia Southern.
A 7-0 run for the Highlanders. Timeout, Georgia Southern. Radford with a 4-point lead. Well, this is the first of a 4-game road trip for the Highlanders here in Statesboro against Georgia Southern. They take on Northwestern, Bradley, and Monmouth before returning home on December 4th in a home matchup against James Madison. A 7-0 run for Radford in the last 2 minutes. They've been able to fight their way back in and take the lead.
They have, just when we thought that Georgia Southern had some momentum, perfectly called timeout by Coach Jones and the Radford staff, get their minds back where they need to be, and getting the offense to functioning the way it was in that first half.
8.5 minutes left to play in regulation. Wishart gets double teamed. And possession will remain with the Eagles.
And now you see what they're going to try and do, Danny. Radford's going to try and isolate Calvin Wishart in opportunities where you can get him in double team, high off the 3-point line in isolation, so where he can't have any help from his big men down low.
McCadden over to Crawley for 3. And that's going to be Isaiah's first 3-pointer on the season. It was 0 of 4 prior to that shot.
Mid-range game is there for Crawley, not quite the 3-point game, but happy for him that he was able to get knocked that one down from 3.
And he leads the team with 13 points tonight. That ball off of Jonkum, couldn't hang on to it.
10th turnover of the day for Radford.
Simeon Carter will take a 3. That one's short. Jones inside. And Clavon Green draws a foul.
Georgia Southern foul is on number 23.
So under 8 to play, a 1-point game in Hanner on ESPN+.
Timeout on the floor.
This is the first of a 2-game homestand for Georgia Southern. They take on Mercer coming up on Tuesday. They have the Hilton Garden Inn Florida Gulf Coast Classic, where they'll play Campbell, North Dakota, and Florida Gulf Coast. A home matchup against Carver as well. Then on the road against Bradley, and then they jump right in the Sun Belt Conference play on December 19th against Texas State and then UT Arlington. Conference play a little bit different this year, going back to 20 games and starting a little bit early.
Absolutely, Dan. I was going to say, what was interesting about Georgia Southern's schedule is that most teams play a Thanksgiving tournament the weekend before and the week leading up to Thanksgiving. Georgia Southern getting their tournament in after Turkey Day. Theirs starts the Friday directly after Thanksgiving.
And there you see the foul before he went to break. Simeon Carter picking up his second. And Clavon Green knocking down both free throws.
Radford 5 from 6 from the free throw line today. Compare that to Georgia Southern's 2 for 4.
And we haven't seen the Eagles draw contact that much, as the floater is good by Elijah McCadden. He now has 8.
And that's a tough one to do because you want to make sure you place it in the basket, but your body's moving sideways. You got to adjust for that. Great adjustment that time by McCadden. And you think, Danny, you need a spark. Do you want to see freshman David Beatty come in for Georgia Southern?
He is a great three-point shooter. That three-point off by the Highlanders. Rebound, Simeon Carter. Calvin Wisher can also knock down a couple of threes. Jackson will fire from long range. Takes a high bounce, and Crawley went up above the heavens to try to bring that rebound down. And
that time Crawley went a little higher than I thought than even he thought he expected. He looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, slow to get up, but
Georgia Southern foul is on number 50.
Crawley will pick up his second foul. So only 3 team fouls for both the Eagles and the Highlanders here in the second half.
And Davy Lee Jones checks back in for Georgia Southern. He was a big part of that 10-0 run in the middle part, or for the first part of this second half to get Georgia Southern the lead briefly.
So a 1-point game, less than 7 minutes to play. Radford got the victory at home last season. Georgia Southern trying to get the win here in Hanner. Alley-oop, and Fields on the finish.
Yeah, that time looking for the alley-oop. Fields just a little bit too far away from the hoop to throw it in. He plays it off the glass nice.
Wisher gonna drive, throws it up. And he will draw a foul.
11, Travis Fields Jr.
Foul gonna be on Travis Fields.
Team sport.
Third foul for Fields. Wisher inbounding to Quan Jackson. Jackson, top of the key for 3. That one's short. Isaiah Crawley on the offensive rebound and finishes.
And that's the first offensive rebound that Georgia Southern has had all second half. That's a little bit telling as to why this game is as close, considering Georgia Southern is shooting very well from the field, 48%. Compare that to the field goal percentage of Radford shooting just 40.
Jones surveying the field. A foul's going to be called on the floor. They'll say
Fouls on the Eagles, number 53.
that'll be on Crawley. So Crawley picking up his third.
Team sport.
Crawley needs to be careful with just over 5 minutes left to go. He's going to be a key part of keeping Georgia Southern in this game down the stretch. And Radford going with their big lineup.
Jones lost it going up. EK is there to throw it down on the second chance effort.
Look what I found. EK right place, right time.
McCadden for 3. Crawley on the offensive rebound. Kicks out to Jackson. Jackson steps inside and shoots. Too strong. Rebound by Donald Hicks.
You could tell Jackson wanted to pull up from 3 that time, force himself to drive in, and punch a little bit too much on that shot.
Inside to EK. And how about Divide EK now with 12 points, 6 of 9 shooting. He has come up in big moments for the Highlanders here throughout the night.
Leads the team in points with 12 as well as 6 rebounds on the night.
Checking in, number 3, Ike Smith.
Ike Smith checking back in for Georgia Southern. EK steps aside for Radford. Wisher to Jones. Top of the key, Ike Smith. Smith gonna drive. What a move. Put back by Elijah McCadden.
You can tell by the look on his face, Ike Smith isn't playing 100%. You can tell that knee's bothering him, but pushing through the pain nonetheless.
Smith didn't play on Monday with a game time decision today. Elijah McCadden with a beautiful follow-up. Waking up Hanner Fieldhouse. Jones loses it, and the Eagles will get it right back.
And if you're Georgia Southern, that's what you need to do is bring this crowd back into this game. Get them up off their feet and get the energy going in this building. They fed off it when they went on their run to start the second half. They could use it again to finish out.
Jones going to step out as well for Radford. Going to save him for the final minutes. Meanwhile, Ike Smith to David Lee Jones. Kicks back out to Smith to tie it up. Almost, but it rolls out. Elijah McCadden on the rebound, swatted away by Junkum.
What a swat that time by Junkum. He hasn't had the best game on the offensive end, but defensively he's been sound, and that block is his first of the game. Ike Smith just not playing with the confidence you expect out of a senior leader.
Possession will stay with the Highlanders. One possession game in Hanner. Flavon Green fakes and goes underneath and scores.
And what a move by Green that time. Pump faking to send Wisher flying and just a Euro step to get in towards the goal. That's smart basketball.
Green now at 14 points off of 5 of 9 shooting. Under 4 minutes, Jackson will take a three, gets fouled on the shot, and will go to the line and shoot three after the final media timeout on the night. We're in the home stretch in Hanner. Radford ahead by 5.
Team Smith, media timeout.
Soft.
See Mark Byington talking to his squad here in the timeout. Georgia Southern down by 5. 3:43 left to play. Griffin, what do the Eagles need to do? They want to fight their way back in and hopefully try to get the win.
It's meaningful possessions on offense. Right now, your possessions are limited. Every time you get on the court, you need to be putting up good shots. We've seen a lot of forced shots on both sides of the ball today by both teams. But Georgia Southern probably a little bit more forcing it than the Highlanders have. You want to see Georgia Southern take meaningful shots, and that'll bring it back into this game.
Quan Jackson going to shoot 3 from the free throw line. Was fouled before the timeout. We haven't seen the Eagles get to the free throw line much throughout this game. Jackson has all 3 made free throws in 5 attempts so far. We talked about how tough it was going to be for Jackson. Now with a target on his back, he only has 7 points. Make that 8 off of 2 of 8 shooting.
Talking about shooting, Danny, Radford the last 4 times down the floor, they have hit a field goal. 4 for 4 from the field their last 4 times. Their shooting percentage now up to 43%. Georgia Southern's down to 44.
Carleek Jones kicks out to Green. Green, free throw line jumper, in and out. Ike Smith posting up down low. Gonna go up himself and scores.
And there it's been. We've been waiting on it all day. Ike Smith just to get a mismatch down low, and that back down basketball that he's so good at brings Georgia Southern back within 1.
Jones spins, offensive foul.
And there's that senior leadership we were talking about from Mike Smith. He hasn't had the best game. He hasn't had the best season so far, but he's got that spatial awareness to take a charge and get possession for your team with just under 3 minutes to go. That's the leadership that Coach Mark Byington is looking for in his fifth-year senior. Redshirt senior, excuse me.
So a 1-point game with under 3 minutes to play. The intensity starting to pick up, and you see Mike Jones, the head coach of Radford, clapping, not upset with Carleigh Jones driving down the lane, even though having that offensive foul. He likes the aggressiveness and intensity from his point guard. McCadden cuts. Throws it out to Jackson. Shot clock at 10. Jackson guarded by EK. Jackson pulled up for three. Offensive rebound, McCadden goes up and scores!
Off balance, Elijah McCadden takes the lead back for the Eagles now, just over 2 minutes to play.
Double team, offensive foul as Jones tried to push off Jackson.
We talked about it before, Danny. You can't have wrist to elbow on a defender, either to create space or in defense. Perfect opportunity, by the book call, turnover for Georgia Southern.
And there you see again the elbow extended, trying to push off Jackson and find some space.
And something to note as well is that Jackson had the space. Jackson was posted on the Radford side of the half-court line, and it was the Radford player that initiated the contact. That's why that's called.
Eagles now with the momentum, 1 point lead. Jackson kicks out to Smith. Smith for three.
Over on the night from the three-point arc, but Ike Smith hits it when he needs to. Southern up 4, excuse me. And Hanner comes alive.
Fields up and under, can't finish. EK on the rebound, waits for his opportunity, and ties it up. Makes it a 2-point game, I should say, with 1:41 left to play.
We said it about the 10-minute mark. It looked like these teams were gearing up for a fun run down the stretch, and both teams playing some good basketball here with under 3 minutes to go, Danny.
So Radford called a timeout. Mike Jones, the head coach for the Highlanders, has been motivating his team even though they've made a couple of mistakes on the offensive side. What do you think he's telling his team now if they want to fight their way back in?
Danny, they're definitely telling them you got to be better on the turnovers and the aspect of the game. They've been bad about giving the ball too easily to Georgia Southern. And it's really what gave them the lead they have right now. If I'm Georgia Southern in the huddle, it's be smart. Don't turn the ball over and play into your ability. Ike Smith's got the hot hand right now. I would try and get the ball in his hands.
Now keep in mind, Georgia Southern is in the bonus. There's 17 fouls for Radford and only 14 fouls for the Eagles, so they do have room if they have to draw a foul at some point.
Yeah, Radford already in the bonus, like you mentioned, Danny. Georgia Southern's got 3 fouls to give, so if Georgia Southern can get a lead here and maintain that in the last 30 seconds or so, you can foul and try and get back.
Wishart to Jackson. Jackson inside to McCadden.
And you know that play was drawn up, Danny. The way it was executed was perfect.
Carleigh Jones drives. Great defense from Mike Smith. EK recovers. Now Fields fading away. Can't get it to go. Final minute. Eagles ahead by 4. Jackson trying to get past Fields. And Mark Byington calls timeout for Georgia Southern. Good defense from Travis Fields, forcing Byington to call a timeout.
It was. Quan's really biggest challenge in that play right there was to get the ball across half court. The 10-second clock was counting against him. And a great timeout that time by Byington. He's got one left down the stretch. It's good game management, leaving yourself 2 timeouts, in the last 5 minutes of a game. Now, if you're Radford, gotta force a turnover on the inbound. That's your best way to stay in this game. 53 seconds left on the clock. Maybe you get 3 resets on the shot clock before that one goes out as well. But the next time down the court, for the Highlanders, it has to be a bucket. It doesn't have to be a 3-ball, but it has to be a bucket.
Like you said, got to force a turnover. 21 seconds on the shot clock. If the Highlanders are able to play good defense, they should have a little bit over 30 seconds to work. 2-possession game. A different Georgia Southern team here in the second half. They scored 45 points in the half, outscoring the Highlanders by 10.
Absolutely, and really on the backs of Isaiah Crawley. He's emerged as the leading scorer for this team. He's already hit his season average of 17 points per game.
Overall combined efforts from multiple Eagles. You have Crawley with 17, Elijah McCadden with 12, Ike Smith with 11, Calvin Wishart with 11 as well, shooting 3 of 7 from long range.
Both Jackson and Crawley are in contention for double-doubles. Crawley needs 2 more rebounds. Jackson needs 2 more rebounds and 2 more points.
McCadden will be the inbounder for the Eagles. McCadden, Crawley, Ike Smith, Calvin Wishart, and Quan Jackson on the floor. Hutchinson, Jones, Hicks, Fields, and Ike on the floor for Radford. Wishart being guarded by Travis Fields. Shot clock at 8. Wishart double teamed over to Crawley, swings it to McCadden. McCadden will drive. He goes up, loses it, and they are going to call a foul as McCadden went up on the drive. And that's going to be Hicks' 3rd foul. So McCadden will be shooting 2.
And that's just the one thing you can't do in that situation. Georgia Southern likely going to turn the ball over, low on the shot clock. Just let them make the mistake. You don't have to try and come to that ball and help on that double team in that instance. Of course, it's still going to be a 2-possession game, Danny, no matter what McCadden does on this free throw.
McCadden knocking down both. 6-point Highlander lead. They're not going to call a timeout yet. They do have 2 remaining. Jones over to Hicks.
And right now it's got to be a 3. Only thing that keeps you in this game.
Jones for 3, knocks it down. Quick timeout by Radford. They needed a 3, like you said, and they got a 3, and they got it from their preseason player of the year in Carleigh Jones. Highlanders not out of it just yet.
That's Jones hitting his 2nd attempt. He missed his 1st from 3-point land. 15 points on the day. That leads all Highlanders in scoring.
So you expect now Radford to put pressure on Georgia Southern. They want to try not to foul immediately, but they want to try to put the pressure on the Eagles.
Absolutely. If you're Radford right now, you force a turnover on the inbound, but you don't foul yet. You let Georgia Southern get across half court, and then you foul them. You don't want too much time off the clock, and you definitely want the ball in one of the lesser free throw shooters' hands. Right now, Quan Jackson's 4 for 5 on the day, and McCadden's 2 for 2, but the rest of the Georgia Southern bench hasn't attempted a free throw all day. And Smith, Crawley, Crawley, Wishart, those are the guys that you want to foul with the ball in their hands.
Yeah, but the Eagles 6 of 9 shooting from the free throw line. Radford 6 of 7. So you already see full court press from the Highlanders. Ike Smith will be the inbounder for the Eagles.
If Ike Smith wants to play quarterback right now, McCadden's got a free shot at the hoop.
22 seconds to go. Smith finds Wishart. Wishart double team, no foul. And now there is a foul right when the Highlanders almost got a turnover.
Rule number 1 of inbounding the ball in a tight game from under your own basket. Never, ever go to the corner. Wishart put himself in a terrible situation there, and he was lucky to even get out of that situation. It looked like he was going to get called with the travel for a second there. I'm not quite sure how he sneaked his way between those 2 defenders. Now, Pressure time is on. He hasn't hit a free throw all game. Can the freshman get it, or excuse me, sophomore get it done?
Yeah, Wisher of his first trip to the line, shooting 1-and-1s. He's been 2 of 2 so far in these first couple of games.
And like I said, that free throw guarantees it's now a 2-possession game. Doesn't matter what Wisher does. Now if you're Georgia Southern, no fouls. There's no fouls if you're in an Eagle uniform.
This is the second. Radford pushing it. Carleek Jones kicking out to field. Blocked by Quan Jackson. Beautiful stop on the defensive side. Radford will inbound it with 9 seconds to go. And the timeout is going to be called by Mike Jones. He uses his final timeout in the game.
9 seconds left now, Danny. You got to get creative. It's going to be a quick 2 and then foul immediately if you're Radford.
It could be a quick 2 or a 3, but for the Highlanders, who do you go to?
Right now, you got to go with the hot hand. Hutchinson's 2 for 4 from 3. Hicks is 1 from 3. Jones is 1 from 2. Carleek Jones is someone that has had his hand in this game. And he leads the team in scoring, but he hasn't seemed too active on the court. It's not like you know that he's there. You're going to get another great look at this block. And look at the lead from Quan Jackson. Absolutely swatting that ball.
Now, for a moment there, Mike Jones was talking to the officials because you look at the replay from that angle, there could have potentially been a foul there.
And that in my book, Danny, that's a foul. If you get the ball, that's great. But if you follow through and get the player on his way down, that's a foul. I think Jones has a decent case. That's not how it was called.
We'll see what the Highlanders decide to do and how Georgia Southern will set up defensively. 4-point game, 9 seconds to go. You're expecting a quick bucket from Radford. They may go to Carleek Jones. He has 15 points. EK with 14 points off of 7 of 10 shooting down low in the post. He's done a great job collecting offensive rebounds and second chance points. Devin Hutchinson, the inbounder.
And Georgia Southern does have fouls to give. It's got to be on the floor, though.
Inbound to EK, up to Jones. 6 seconds, Jones for 3. Banks it in! 3.1 seconds left to go, and Carleek Jones keeps the Highlanders in this one.
We're going to see a little conversation between the officials here. We're going to probably take another look and see where his foot was.
Yeah, I think they wanted to make sure it is a 3. He was behind the line when he shot it.
It definitely was a 3. You definitely see clear separation between the line and his feet there. You're probably going to get time on the clock. I think that's probably what Coach Byington is asking, is when that ball went through the rim, did the clock stop exactly where it was supposed to?
So it looked like they could add a couple of tenths of a second left. Radford out of timeouts. Georgia Southern with 1 left. Carleek Jones with 18 points. And they're going to add 0.4 tenths of a second back on the clock. So 3.5 seconds left to play in regulation.
And I just told you, Danny, Jones is the guy that you want to handle the ball. The redshirt junior from Cincinnati. He's such a clutch player. You can see he wasn't fazed at all by that situation.
Yeah, Jones with 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists.
And something to note now, if Georgia Southern does turn the ball over, all it takes is a 2 to win this game.
Well, no matter what, if you foul or not, it's going to be a 1-possession game regardless. Depends on how quick Radford can get the foul or get the turnover. Ike Smith, the inbounder, gets it to McCadden, and EK will foul with 2.2 seconds left to play.
It's smart basketball from Radford, keeping themselves in this game. And that does take you into the double bonus, Danny, so he's going to get 2 shots at this regardless.
So they're going to add a little bit of time back, so only 1 second was taken off the inbound, on the inbound. Elijah McAdden, 2 of 2 from the free throw line tonight. Knocked down the first. Knocks down the second. Radford has to go the entire length of the floor. Jones from just inside half court takes a high bounce in Georgia Southern. Fights back in the second half, scoring 50 points to defeat the Highlanders. Final score 76-73. Isaiah Crawley with 17 points. Elijah McAdden with 16. Calvin Wishart with 12. Ike Smith with 11. Big win for Georgia Southern basketball.
It was, but it almost wasn't a win. You saw it on the face of Ike Smith and Isaiah Crawley there just a second ago. They looked like we just got away with one. That was a perfect look and a great shot from Carlik Jones. He's obviously frustrated that didn't go in, but a great game from Georgia Southern, able to bounce back after having an average first half, came on strong in the second half, and getting another win here at home in the fortress that is Hanner Fieldhouse.
So the Eagles will look forward now to Mercer on Tuesday. Radford will now head on the road to take on Northwestern. So, for Griffin Lale, I am Danny Wall saying so long from Hanner Fieldhouse, where the final score is Georgia Southern 76, Radford 73. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.